Hey, everybody. Michelle is here, sitting in my favorite chair. I was contemplating, but now I'm talking. um, just thinking about a lot of things that I'm listening to, sometimes online or reading or experiencing when I go out, and go out and about and, run my, handle my business and stuff like that. Um, it's just amazing, the many different type of people that are in our environments, in our communities, and and it's so amazing to hear how people are talking sometimes about people and why they are such a problem. Like I said, I protect Black culture. And it's more, and I care deeply about Black women, of course, and not to mention Black lesbians and such. But it's just so amazing why people always seem to be targeting that group of people. If they're not talking about Black women, they're talking about Black lesbians or the alternative lifestyle, whatever you want to call it. You know, and we just need to start getting away from all of that, worrying so much about those type of communities. So much, and find out what's going on with you, the individual. What is your issues with yourself? What is your issues with your um, lack of confidence or lack of initiatives or lack of understanding and considering the dangers faced on this planet? I just wish people would just, I just don't understand why all because it seems to be like that with a lot of men. Actually, they'll start their conversation off very, very, in a reasonable manner, and then all of a sudden they'll go. There's always a problem with women. All of a sudden, or the LGBT, just I mean, I don't be too concerned about all of that, all of those acronyms. I like to keep things simple, actually, you know. Um, but it always seems to come back to that, worrying so much about communities that can care less about. It's not, well, let's put it this way. It's not that they don't care, but they got their own concerns. As a woman, I have my own concerns. I'm not going to be sitting around worrying about so much what men are doing or not doing, actually. And more so, they're not doing anything in most cases. Some certain ones, the ones that are genuinely doing walking the talk. I'm not talking to you. You shouldn't get offended. But there's just there's always a few, but the problem with that few is they have so many followers, and for some reason they get too much. They get a lot of attention, for some reason, And I know it has to do with manipulation of the media, the manipulation of just news outlets in general, as to what type of conversations are held. And it's always about worrying about people's weight, worrying about people's health, um, people going around lying about COVID and lying about how COVID was conceived, and just, and most of them are just talking because, like I said, they have a large platform of people, and, they call themselves so called experts, so called scientists. And I just wish, well, not, I don't wish anything. I look at the cause and effects of things. And, like I said, it's just, gosh, I mean, it makes sense why everything is happening the way it is. But, sometimes, just to keep hearing it and hearing it. And it always, like I said, always comes back to people that are different from the person talking. They have no idea what they're talking about when they talk about certain communities. None. And some of them have no clue about their own communities, their own people, and why they do what they do, and why they are what they are. I'm just so sick of it sometimes. God, leave people alone. especially when people are at a vulnerable point. Some people do get vulnerable in the midst of doing everything they can to stay on the right path. We all get vulnerable, and we make mistakes, and that's so unforgiving. But yet we could have wars after wars after wars after wars, which is doing more harm to our consciousness than anything on this planet. War, that does more damage than any activity or any chaos or destruction on this planet. But yet we want to keep worrying about, because, I remember I used to have, well, be real careful because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but it's usually self righteousness that steps in every time. Um, Again, like I said, I throw out theories and opinions, and you can easily swipe the fuck out of me where you don't have to even listen to it. That's your free will. I like to listen to a lot because I always find contradictions. Always, always. And so to me, that's like a lesson and like education for me to understand why are people so contradicting all the time. Um, so it gives me something to entertain myself because it's all entertainment purposes only, right? Everything is, you know, everything is entertainment purposes only. So, like I said, I'm going to do everything I can to defend more so women, you know, and black women more specifically, or women of color, however they want to be called. That's irrelevant too, you know. But you do whatever you just define yourself the way you like to be defined. But um, I would consider something just simple about your existence and not make such a big deal out of you know, we're not operating as a true humanity anyway. So don't make such a big deal out of, your humaneness and just continue to build it and develop it. And, understand that, there's more than meets the eye. There's always a backstory about everything, about everybody. I've been as transparent as I think I've heard. I don't think anyone's been as transparent as I have been. So hopefully that's a trend, um, so that we can weed out these sociopaths, psychopath, narcissistic, you know, also known as cowards, that reap havoc and masquerade so beautifully, right? That that was being sarcastic because there's nothing beautiful about being a coward, none whatsoever, and not being being held responsible and accountable for yourself and wasting everybody's time and effort to weed you out, because that takes time and effort to weed out sociopaths, psychopaths, narcissistics, because usually they've committed such horrendous crimes, or they've had other people do it for them, and that's usually what they do. These narcissistic cowards, they find other people to do their dirty deeds, and it wastes so much time for the rest of humanity, because we have to hunt these kind of people down, literally. We have to hunt them down, and we have to capture them and put them in a place where they cannot harm another human being ever. It's best to banish them somewhere so they can be completely aware of their actions and behaviors, and be and not be interfered with, and let them naturally suffer, if that makes sense. I hope it does. Let them naturally suffer, because they will. So I enjoy educating myself. I really do. But I do get a little annoyed with the it's like the continue. It's like everybody keeps circling around to the same arguments, and it's always about women, people of color, or the alternative lifestyle. And it's usually men talking about it. So all the time, they always have a problem with it. And I don't understand why. Is it because you can't take is are you being turned on and you're trying to divert it? You know, are you upset because you saw someone, you thought it was a woman, it turns out it was a trans, and you're upset with them because you got turned on to that? I'll never forget when I was working in you know, in a fast food restaurant when I was in my teens, I don't know, 15. It's anywhere from 15 to 19 years old. I don't remember specifically. You have to make sure you say that word right. But there was this manager I had. I remember he used to be so, he used to be so, chest out. He tried to he tried so hard to be masculine. And I thought something was kind of off by that, by how he was acting, right? So masculine. He was married with, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 children. So masculine, walking around. And I never forget, he's back there working, around the grill or something like that. And this young feminine man came into the restaurant and said, "Hey, don't I know you?" And you should have saw how red that man got. That manager, my manager, he got, well, I'll call him my manager because he got so red, beet red, you know, because this attractive feminine man walked into the restaurant and recognized him. So what does that tell you? But like I said, he was beet red. I was like, wow, because if that feminine man that walked into the restaurant was mistaken, why is this dude getting beet red? And so when the feminine man kept trying to speak to him, say, "Hey, don't you remember me?" He completely ignored him, and he kind of walked to the back of the restaurant. So sometimes when people have this aversion to certain people or a certain group of people, I think you probably need to test. You need to question your own sexuality and find out. Okay, are you projecting? Are you projecting? Because what in the world can someone doing what they do be so concerning to people? Now, if you're harming children, that's one thing, of course, and animals, which happens a lot. People abuse animals. I'm just, you know, okay, you've been told. Um, and always tying pornographic situations to certain groups of people. That is so old, and so there's so much fallacy to that. And I wish people would research stuff before they start talking about things, because our swinging waves are just, I call them our thoughts that just crash into each other. But you cannot be innocent. You cannot be intentionally or unintentionally harming innocent people that are not bothering anyone and just trying to live and understand themselves, and trying to make sense of this world. Because I have a hard time with that, making sense of this world myself. Okay, on a daily basis. Okay, and then for somebody to be worried about, who I'm sleeping with, and to be worried about this and worried about that, we're just wasting so much time. Wasting so much time. And in some cases, for a lot of people, like I said earlier, stuff is closing in on them, and your time is up. Your time will be up. And that is so. It is so. Your time is up, because no one's going to be sitting around waiting for us forever, trust me, to raise our vibrational level up. And when we have opportunities to help and educate and be kind and gentle to people, we use it as a time to bash people all the time. It always turns around to being bashing them and saying that there's a problem with them, existing. They were created just the same way you were. Everybody was created the same way. And I remember someone used to say, "Well, God don't make no mistakes." And like I said, I'm going to assume he meant the energy of God. However you want to define it. We're not going to get into that argument, but I think we've all agreed that it is energy. Okay, so if this particular energy doesn't make any mistakes, why are we always condemning people and having a problem with people for who they are? Okay, so anytime somebody keeps bringing up a certain group of people, you need to test your sexuality and question your sexuality and find out what is your issue. It has nothing to do with the group that you have such a problem with. And that's what I meant. And that's why I defend black culture as well. Because everybody wants to try to blame black culture for everything. But black culture has nothing to do with issues that you refuse to deal with. Same thing is the alternative lifestyle. Okay? Don't be upset with them because you're attracted to them. All right, so again, I'm doing my best to, uh, I don't have a problem. Who only people I have a problem with are these sociopaths, psychopaths, narcissistics, sociopaths, also known as cowards, because like I said, they use other people to do their dirty deeds. Okay, and all they want to do is cause harm to this planet. They don't want any peace. Okay, and they all are in sheep's well, they say wolves in sheep's clothing. They parade themselves all around popular areas like religion, politics, more specifically, and most often. That's where they hide. Okay, so we just need to leave people alone. Please leave people alone and deal with your own individual issue. Okay, it's not a black problem. It's not black culture. It's black culture is not your problem. Alternative lifestyles are not your problem. The problem is within you. So deal with it. All right. So I'm gonna stop for the night here. Sit here a little bit longer and do some thinking and whatnot, and you know continue to because I'm in the second half of my life, and so what I'm doing is developing it, continuously developing it, and so that's what I do when I'm contemplating. All right. So I want to send peace and love to everyone. Take care and be safe.